Are you currently living in Gilbert, Arizona, or thinking of maybe moving there? Well, today we're going to discuss the top 5 pros and the top 5 cons of why you should possibly move or need to know of when living in Gilbert, Arizona. Stay tuned. If you wouldn't mind, just go ahead and smash that subscribe button, guys. We really appreciate it. Go ahead and get our video out to more and more people that can hopefully benefit from this good information that we're trying to put out there to the universe, the metaverse, to let everyone know about the awesome town of Gilbert, Arizona. That's right, guys. It is a town. So please go ahead and do that, guys. Ring that bell. We're putting out 2 videos every single week for your personal enjoyment. Guys, thank you so much for joining our video today on Gilbert, Arizona. What are the pros? What are the cons? What do you need to know about this wonderful suburb that also has some cons? Because what place doesn't? Every place, no matter how great it is, has some sort of cons and downsides. So we're gonna discuss that right now. We're gonna jump right into the 5th pro. Should we start with the pros or the cons first? It's kind of like that question you always get asked, well, I got good news and I got bad news. Which one do you want first? And what do you always say? Okay, usually you want the bad news first, but today we're gonna start with good news because on Everything Phoenix, the glass is always half full, not half empty. Here we go. The 5th pro is proximity, fairly close proximity to Phoenix. Now, Phoenix is large, it's spread out, the actual city of Phoenix. But Gilbert, being in the Southeast Valley, as you can see here on the map, is in the Southeast Valley, and it's not that far or that long to get to downtown Phoenix and Sky Harbor Airport. As you can see with the Loop 202, you can actually hop on that and it runs right through Gilbert, and you can hop on that and get to downtown Phoenix pretty quick, or you could go north through the streets of Gilbert if you live in like the central or north part of Gilbert and hop on the 60, the interstate that cuts right across east to west over into Phoenix. So guys, that is actually a big deal because a lot of people live in Gilbert and they work and commute in places or businesses in the city of Phoenix. So guys, if you're looking for that good commute time, or it's not gonna be super fast, but it's not terrible either. It's kind of somewhere in between. So overall, it is a pro when looking to commute to some place for work. Pro tip, when it comes to traffic patterns, the 60 is a busier, it has more lanes, but a busier interstate than the Santan Southern Loop 202. So even if the 202 is maybe a little bit out of your way, if you're coming from, say, downtown Phoenix back to your home in Gilbert, you may want to consider taking the 202 because it flows a lot faster. And you have HOV lanes on either one of those, so that's good too, where you can carpool between the hours of 6 and 9 and 4 and 7 p.m. during rush hour times to get to where you're going faster. Number 4 on the pro list, guys, and this one actually applies to the vast majority of the Phoenix area, but no natural disasters. That's right. If you live in Gilbert, you don't have to worry about typhoons, earthquakes, hurricanes. You just don't have to worry about much of that. The worst thing you're gonna have to actually be semi-concerned about, and I say that tongue-in-cheek, are monsoons. Now guys, these are not like monsoons in some tropical island area of the world. These are monsoons where rain can come in, and sometimes they call it a monsoon and rain never even occurs, which is really odd, by the way, but we live in the desert. But a haboob or a big sandstorm comes in and drops a lot of wind and maybe some dust and dirt, but maybe very little rain. Or it does rain, but it pours so hard, so quick, 15 minutes, some cases, or even less, that the ground, you have some flash flooding because the ground is decomposed granite, and so it cannot soak up all that rain that pours all at once, and therefore you get some flooding that goes through retention areas and wash areas throughout the valley. So it's interesting, right? But no natural disasters that really will displace anybody living in Gilbert. And because you're a suburb attached to a bunch of other populous places, you're probably not gonna have any wildfire threats as well, which you can get in the state of Arizona during the summertime primarily. Okay, this takes us to number 3 on the pro list. And guys, this is a good one. This is low crime rate. That's right, guys. Gilbert has a extremely low crime rate. In fact, if you pull up the crime map, you'll see very few dots on it at all. It is a very safe and secure place to live from the aspect of you just don't have to worry about much crime. In fact, I have many friends and clients that live in Gilbert, and they tell me all the time, I leave my door unlocked at night because they feel so safe in these neighborhoods. And most of the neighborhoods aren't even gated or guard gated. There aren't as many as other suburbs, like maybe Fountain Hills or Scottsdale or Paradise Valley, that are guard gated or gated as they are in Gilbert, yet the crime rate is extremely low. So again, Gilbert, 2 thumbs up for having a very low crime rate and making it a safe place to raise a family and to live no matter what age you are. living in this life. Coming in at number 2 on the pro list for Gilbert, Arizona is the A+ rated school system. Guys, that's right. Gilbert has phenomenal schools, and this is an interesting stat for you. Out of the 90 or so public schools in the area, over 70 of them have a A- rating or higher. That is pretty darn good. So if you're going to utilize a public school system in the Gilbert area, you have a good one at your disposal. Your property taxes, as you know, guys, property taxes in Arizona, or maybe you don't know, but property taxes in Arizona in general are just very low. Gilbert as a town, a place to live in, very low. Compared to places across the United States. It's lower than the vast majority of the states across the country. Yet, in certain areas across Phoenix, the school system is very good. Public school system is very good. Now, there are charter school options, there are private school, Christian school, Catholic school options, yet the public school system in Gilbert, Arizona is one of the better ones in the entire state. Now, granted, if you look at the ratings for the entire state of Arizona, it's not good. It is low overall. But that's because you do have some very poor areas in the state, unfortunately, and not just the city of Phoenix, or the area around Phoenix, but some poor areas that just don't get good schooling, they don't get education, they don't have the funds, the teachers, etc. But Gilbert and the schools around it are very good. So you can feel pretty secure and pretty safe for the most part in comparison to other places across the state, especially that Gilbert school system is going to treat your kids well and they'll get a good education. But as always, disclaimer alert, do your own homework and do what's comfortable and best for your specific family and kids. Okay, drum roll, the number 1 pro that we came up with in our video here for moving or living in the town of Gilbert is starting a family and family-friendly activities, all mashed into one because it has to do with the family. Gilbert is known for having a phenomenal area and ecosystem built out to start and raise a family. Gilbert is phenomenal, is a phenomenal place for that. There are so many family-friendly activities to do in Gilbert, and the demographics and population of the town just happen to be families, and the majority of them are families with kids. You have a lot of the housing is built towards and around that. Now, obviously, you have higher end properties that families that are more wealthy choose to live in. You have tract home, small middle class homes that are built with a lot of bedrooms, not necessarily big sprawling great rooms, but a lot of more bedrooms. So for families with kids, you can actually have family-oriented neighborhoods and housing that support the culture and the ecosystem of Gilbert being a family-friendly community. They have the activities like, sports leagues are phenomenal in Gilbert. You have a ton of sports leagues in all kinds of youth sports for kids. You have the riparian reserve. You can go out there and you can fish, you can do hiking around these lakes. And it's just a really cool natural setting for a park-like setting with things to do and things to explore right there in the heart of Gilbert. You have the Strand, which is a water park in Gilbert. You have Cactus Yards, which actually is a baseball softball complex, and really the fields are mimicked after many of the Major League Baseball fields across the country. They have them all in a cluster in this big complex, and you can tell this one's Fenway Park with the Green Giant and Yankee Stadium over here, and it has a lot of the memorabilia stuff recreated in those stadiums. So it's really cool. They support the family. You have a lot of parents that are between the age of call it 30 and 50. That's a big part of demographic with kids that are between the age of obviously 0 and up to 18. And then of course I'm sure there's plenty of ones that didn't quite make it out of the house when they went to college either, right? So if you're looking for a family-friendly community, a place to live and call home and start a family and raise a family, then Gilbert should be at the top of your list. But wait, there's more, guys. I love throwing in bonuses. Bonuses are my favorite thing, and who doesn't like a good bonus? So we're gonna give you one bonus pro, and this one is actually pretty common, but I gotta say it anyways, I have to mention it, and that is no snow. That's right, for all my friends that live up north and on the East Coast in the country, you don't have to worry about snow when living in Gilbert, Arizona. Now, obviously, that rule applies for most of the Phoenix area, but there are several places in the Phoenix area with the higher elevations that certain parts of the year can actually get a little bit of snow. It dissipates pretty quick, but Gilbert, no snow. You don't have to shovel anything. It is phenomenal, and that makes our bonus pro for living in Gilbert, Arizona. All right, now let's switch over to the cons. I put the 5 down for the cons, right? But the number 5 con on the list for Gilbert, Arizona is no public transportation. That's right, guys. If you are coming from a city like, LA or New York City, Chicago, downtown Denver, whatever, and you are used to some sort of public transportation, we don't have it in Gilbert. Now, we do have the light rail in Phoenix, and it goes to certain areas through Mesa and Tempe, but not in Gilbert, Arizona. So there aren't too many buses either, to be honest with you. So the public transportation is lacking. If you don't own your car, if you want walkability to a lot of places, you're just not gonna have that in Gilbert. Now, around downtown Gilbert, you're gonna have some of that. And downtown Gilbert is up and coming, but in terms of public transportation and a good system for that, not gonna be your cup of tea if you're living in Gilbert. Number 4 for con comes in at air quality. So air quality in Gilbert is not the best. Now, it's not just because of pollution. It's also because of haboobs, monsoons. Yeah, that's right. Why is that? Gilbert more than other places in the Phoenix area? Yeah, to some degree, that's true. Why? Because Gilbert is located in the Southeast Valley. The vast majority of the monsoons and the haboobs, they come from the south and head north. Now, what is a haboob? If you look at the screen here, you'll see this haboob just coming in and engulfing the entire area of Gilbert and the Phoenix area that it's just swarming over. It is quite the sight if you have a chance to see it. Now, when you're in the thick of it, it's not bad at all. It's a little hazy, a little dusty, but you can drive through it, walk through it, run through it, play through it, whatever you want to do. It's not that bad. It looks a lot worse than it really is. But Arizona does experience, Phoenix does experience these haboobs during monsoon season, which lasts unofficially between about the 1st of July through the end of August. So that being said, when those haboobs come in, they do leave a lot of dust and dirt, on your covered patio outside and your backyard equipment, on the exterior of your house to some degree. And so it just creates a little bit more dirty air when those things roll in. Now, they do go to other cities, other parts of the valley. So it's not like Gilbert just has poor air quality and other cities don't. Generally, Phoenix, because it's in a valley, is surrounded by those mountains. Therefore, the air can escape as well as it can other cities when the wind blows. But Gilbert, being on the south part of the valley, when the haboobs come, can have air quality that's a little bit less than desired. Number 3 for a con comes in at not being a party scene. That's right, guys. Gilbert is not a party town. And guys, it is a town, not a city, and the city officials want to keep it that way also, just so you know, fun fact. But it's not a party town. There's not clubs to go to. There's not a lot of things to do late night. So if you're a late night person and you want to get out and just have a bunch of fun and get wild, it's not going to really happen in Gilbert. That being said, downtown Gilbert is literally one of my favorite places for a downtown area in all of Phoenix. Now, I love Old Town Scottsdale. That's hard to beat, but downtown Gilbert is special. It's newer. A lot of great concepts are coming to downtown Gilbert with the food and the restaurants and things of that nature. And so they have some cool hip concepts, some good vibes, and some nice atmospheres when you go into some of these restaurants, coffee shops, things of that nature in downtown Gilbert. And so if you live by it, you can have some walkability to some of those places, and they're open, somewhat late for nice restaurants / bars. But in terms of a wild party scene, not gonna happen in Gilbert. So that could be a pro based upon who you are as a person. But if you're a young professional, Gilbert may not be the place for you if you wanna get out and mingle late at night. All right, coming in number 2 for the con side is air odor. That's right. What do you mean by that, Kelly? Why is the air smells worse in Gilbert than it does other places? Well, to some extent, yes, it does. And that's only in a small little fraction of places on the southern part of Gilbert for the most part. Why is that? I'm glad you asked. It's because Gilbert, and Chandler too as well, primarily used to be huge commercial dairy farms. That's right, dairy farms. And there are some of those dairy farms left over. Not too many left. When I first moved here in 2004, there were quite a few in this Gilbert, Chandler, south part of those areas. Quite a few dairy farms, and they're just gone. They've been bought out. They've been taken down. Housing has sprouted up in these areas, new development. And so that's not as big of a thing as it used to be. I remember driving back in Gilbert when I was, first in real estate, 2005 and 6, when the wind blew just right, it did not smell great. And so you'd have disclaimer forms signed when you bought the real estate by the buyers, et cetera, sellers, disclosure statements. So that being said, it's a rare thing now, but they do still exist in a small fraction. So if you're gonna buy a place on the outskirts of Gilbert, you need to be aware of any potential dairy farms nearby, because if the wind blows the right way on a warm day especially, that doesn't smell the best. I'm just saying. So anyways, that's why you need a great real estate professional to help guide you through some of these little things that you would never know of, because if you go there on a certain day and the wind's not blowing the right way, you never know. But that's why we have your back here at Everything Phoenix. All right, coming in number 1 for a con is the higher cost of living. Wah, wah, I know. Gilbert used to be very, very affordable, as with most places across the Phoenix area, honestly. But because of the recent run-up in home prices, which is leading the charge for cost of living not being so great in Gilbert, it's gone up a lot. In fact, Gilbert right now sits about 18 points above the national average for cost of living when taking in all the different indexes for aspects that rank for cost of living: transportation, healthcare, food, real estate, housing, utilities, things of that nature, just to name a few. So right now, Gilbert is about 18 points higher than the national average, which is not great. And again, housing is the big part of that. Everything else that I just named, and then some, really is pretty moderate, pretty average, right around that 100 mark, which is the average for a US city across the entire country when ranking cost of living. But when it comes to housing, it's quite a bit above the national average. And so it does pull that up to about a score of 118 above 100. Housing currently comes in at about 140 as opposed to 100, which is the national average across the country when on housing specifically. And so you can still find good deals in Gilbert. It depends what neighborhood you're gonna be in. Depends if you want new construction, because obviously new construction always charges typically a premium for everything being new. But if you want resale, and resale that doesn't need a lot of work sometimes, that could have been remodeled in the last year or 2 or 3, that happens a lot, and there are good deals there. It also depends on what neighborhood you choose to live in also, because Gilbert is quite large. So guys, give us a call if you have any questions. We would love to chat with you about all these pros and all these cons at your convenience. 480-660-5974. Email us at info@cookandassociatesaz.com, or just check us out right here on our Instagram page at Kelly Cook Homes. We would love to chat, have a conversation with you whenever convenient. You can text as well on that same number, and we'd be happy to text you back, call you, whatever works best for you. We just love and are passionate about Phoenix, Arizona, and the surrounding areas, including Gilbert, Arizona. So guys, thank you so much, and don't forget to call me.